Hello everyone, I welcome you all to ManageEngine OpManager Plus free training series. A brief about myself, my name is Alan Joshua. I'm a product expert associated with ManageEngine, and it's my immense pleasure for me to be your trainer for today. As you all know, this is a five-part training series. Basically, this five-part is divided into three major components. The first component we'll discuss in detail about basic network monitoring and management. And the second section, we'll talk in detail about advanced IT operations management, where we'll talk about the other capabilities available in our solutions like your traffic and bandwidth monitoring, firewall management, so on and so forth. And finally, we will talk about full stack observability. So this first stage is basically divided into three components. So we started with how to onboard your network infrastructure into OpManager Plus, which was the getting started part. Then the monitoring part, where we spoke about how you can leverage OpManager Plus for monitoring your network. And today, we will discuss about how you can use features like alarms, reports, and network maps, features available in OpManager Plus. So this session happens in two time zones. One is 6 a.m. GMT, the other one is 11 a.m. EDT. So depending on your convenience, you can attend either of the sessions. So for those of you who are joining today for the first time, let me give a brief introduction about what OpManager Plus is all about. Now, OpManager Plus is ManageEngine's unified IT operations management solution or full stack observability solution. So as you can see from the screen, that OpManager Plus helps you to monitor your entire IT stack, starting from the network layer, IT infrastructure part, your applications, and you can also monitor your end user experience, which comes under the digital user experience monitoring part. You can also do other functionalities like traffic and bandwidth analysis, manage your configurations, manage your firewalls, as well as your IPs and switch ports. So together with all these features comes bundled in the product called OpManager Plus. Now, if you want only to monitor your network and your IT, then you can go for ManageEngine OpManager, which is a standalone solution for network monitoring. And if you want any other components or capabilities in addition to the network monitoring part, you can very well add them as add-ons in the product. So without further ado, let us dive into today's presentation, setting up alarms, reports, and network maps in OpManager Plus. Now, this is the agenda for today. First, we'll talk about what are the alarm severities available in OpManager, and how you can leverage threshold-based alerting features, and what are the actions that you can perform when an alarm is triggered. And we talk about other functionalities like root cause analysis and automation through workflows. Then we'll talk about how you can group various network elements like your devices or interfaces in OpManager, and what are the various notification channels available through which you can get notified. And we'll also talk about how you can leverage reports for monitoring your network. And finally, visualization, where we talk about what are the maps available in OpManager Plus that you can use for monitoring your network architecture. So starting with alarm severity. Now, alarms will inform you if something goes wrong in your network instantly so that you can take immediate corrective actions. Here's a visual representation of the severity levels that OpManager Plus supports. Basically, there are 5 severity levels, starting with attention, critical, trouble, service down, and clear. So each severity level is denoted with a particular color. So you can change the color pattern also. So let me show you how you can do that in product. Let's navigate to settings. System settings. And we have this option called severity. So here you can see the default colors are for critical it is red, for trouble it is orange. If you want, you can change them here. So that is the color pattern here, the color code. So you can basically change the colors here. The appropriate color code will get updated, and you can, save, and it will be configured for your network. So this is about alarm severity. And we have this feature called threshold-based monitoring. you can use, or rather you can set thresholds for various metrics in OpManager Plus. For example, for CPU utilization, you can set the threshold for attention alert as 60%. For trouble, you can set it as 70, and for critical, it is 80. So whenever your device deviates or crosses this particular threshold value that you have set, an alert will be generated. If it crosses 60%, an attention alarm indicating with the color that you have configured, that will be triggered. Similarly for trouble as well as for critical. So let me show you from the product how you can configure thresholds in OpManager Plus. So you can go to inventory, and here you will have all the devices which are being monitored. So you can click on any particular device for which you want to add the threshold configurations. Click on monitors. Here you can see all the monitors that are associated to this product. So there is a separate section here called thresholds. So you can just click on a particular threshold, a particular metric, and here you can, as you scroll down, you can see that we have the threshold details here. So for attention, you can set the value as say 60, trouble 70, and this thing for critical as 80. So based on the criticality or based on the importance of this device, or based on the usage trends of this particular device, you can set the values as per your needs. Right? So when you click save, this configuration will be applied to this particular monitor of this particular device. Now say you want to update threshold or make threshold configurations and apply it to multiple devices across your network. You can do that using the settings option. Under settings, you have configuration, and under that you have device template. So here you can see that we have basic device templates here. So let me click on particular device template, Windows 2016. So it gives you the metrics or the monitors that come under the Windows 16 device template. Right? So here you can click on edit thresholds, and you can set the thresholds here. And the changes that you update here will get updated across your network. So whenever a Windows 16 server is added to your network or added to OpManager Plus for monitoring, there's threshold settings that you apply here for all the monitors will be applied to that device. So if you want to push configuration changes to multiple devices across your network, you can use the device template option. Moving on. Next, we have graphs. So we spoke about how you can monitor your network using various metrics, and you can see the value of them in the device snapshot page and all. Now, let me again take you to the product itself and explain. So once the devices are added, you can find all your devices in the inventory, and you can see the basic information such as what's the status of the device, whether it's critical or trouble. Okay. So as you go in, this is the snapshot page. You will get in-depth information like the availability, packet loss, response time. If you need a few other metrics, detailed metrics, you can go to the monitors tab. Now, let me come back to the summary page here. You have something here called the graphs option. So as you click on this, you'll be able to see all your metrics, the monitoring performance of this particular device for all the metrics in graphical format. So you can see CPU utilization, disk utilization, basically all the monitors that are configured for this particular device. And you can also change the time period, and you can export this, as a PDF and get it downloaded as well. So this is about graphs, just a visual representation of all the metrics. Now we talk about adaptive thresholds, which is an important feature in OpManager Plus. Now, adaptive thresholds, as the name suggests, it is an extension of the threshold-based alerting feature. Right? But the only difference is that adaptive thresholds uses ML capabilities or machine learning capabilities to learn from past historical data, and OpManager Plus will use that data. Based on that, it'll rather forecast the utilization based on the time and context. For example, let's say CPU utilization during weekdays, morning time, like say 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., 80%. 80% during weekdays morning is considered as normal. But the same 80%, if it happens during a weekend or say during a midnight, then that's not normal, right? So OpManager Plus will automatically elevate the level of threshold and bring it down based on the time period and the context. Right? So, for example, it will automatically set the value for CPU utilization during morning hours as 80%. So, whenever it crosses 80%, an alert will be triggered. But rather, the threshold value for CPU utilization will go down to 30% during evening hours, say 6 or 6:30. So it will automatically reduce that value. So you don't have to do it manually. That's the point. It uses past learning, machine learning to learn from the past historical data, and it sets values for thresholds dynamically. Right now, let's see how this works in the product. So under settings, you can navigate to under monitoring, you have something called adaptive thresholds. Yes. So ensure that this button is enabled. So click on enable monitors and you can see CPU utilization, memory, and response time. So just click on the edit option, and here you just have to provide the deviation value. For example, let's say your for morning 10 to 11 a.m., the CPU utilization value is 70%. OpManager Plus will automatically set the value as 70% based on the previous data. Now you have to just provide the deviation data, which means if it crosses 70 plus 10, the deviation value that we provide here, like we choose percentage. So 70% plus 10%, which is the deviation value, 80%. If it crosses 80%, then an attention alert will be generated. Similarly for the other metrics. So you just have to provide the deviation value. For example, if it is during the evening time, let's say it's 6:30 or 7 p.m., OpManager Plus will set the forecast value as 30%. So 30% plus 10, the deviation value, 40%. So when your device crosses the CPU utilization more than 40%, an alert will be generated. So based on the time or the context of the or the time period of a particular day, your CPU utilization or the threshold value for various metrics will get updated. So OpManager Plus will learn from the past data. You just have to give this OpManager Plus at least 14 days time, right? So it requires 14 days. So if you're onboarded your infrastructure today into OpManager Plus, it's not good to right away start with adaptive thresholds. You have to provide it the required amount of time for it to use the machine learning capability and learn from the past data. So minimum of 14 days is required. This is about adaptive thresholds. And we'll talk about alarms now again. Now, again, let me take you to the product itself. As I said earlier, alarms will let you know when something goes wrong with your network. So we have the alarms tab here, and you'll be able to find all the alarms that have been raised in your network. You can, this red color dial, it basically shows your critical alerts, the number of critical alerts, the number of trouble, as well as your attention alerts. So let me choose critical for now. And as you click on a particular alarm, it takes you to the alarm profile or the alarm snapshot page. So here you can perform more actions, like you can execute a workflow, and we'll talk about what workflow is in the subsequent slides. And you can check for availability, you can test, monitor, you can also edit the thresholds. Right? So it will take you to this threshold page. Here you can edit the thresholds, and you can bring down the value if you feel that the given values are so high for this particular device, then you can bring down the values here. So there are multiple actions that you can. So once you acted upon this alert, you have resolved the issue, then you can use this option here, acknowledge, and it will be acknowledged, and alert will not be raised again. So you can clear this alert if everything is fine with your network, everything is fine with this particular alert, then you can use this option. So there are multiple options that you can use. Right? Let me again take you to the alarms tab. Yes, you can use this option also. You can choose a particular alarm, and here itself you don't have to enter the alarm profile page. You can perform various actions here. You have other actions provided here. So this is about alarms and alarm actions, which I was talking about. Now let's move to the next topic, which is alarm escalation. Now let's say if a critical alarm in your network goes unnoticed and no one has acted upon it because of some human error, then it is good for you to escalate that alarm so that somebody can act on it, because that's a critical alert. And also to avoid SLA violations, it is always good to set up alarm escalation rules with OpManager Plus so that all the important or critical alerts get noticed and you act on them and you clear all those issues, right? So how can you configure that in the product? You can go to settings, and under configuration, you have the alarm escalation rules feature. So you can click on add rule to create a new rule. So let's say, let me say critical server, critical server rule. So you can set the, okay, let me take you to a different setup. Yeah, click on add rule. You can choose the severity, right? So let me choose critical here, and you can apply this to any particular device category. So let me choose servers here. You can also filter by, use this option and choose the devices. And let's say if the alarm is not cleared for, say, 1 hour, it's a very critical device, then you can set the time limit as low as possible. And you can, raise an alert. So you can run this check every, say, 15 minutes. Again, based on the criticality or the importance of the device, you can play around with these options here. Right? So if the alarm is acknowledged, then maybe you can choose to exclude those alarms. And you can configure the email details here so that once this condition is met, an alert will be generated and be triggered to your email. Right? You can just click on save. So this is how you can use the alarm escalation rule option and escalate unattended alarms. So then talking about alarm correlation. Now, often your IT teams would need to correlate multiple alarms to understand the root cause of an issue with any IT system. For instance, let's consider a situation where you have a server that's prone to overheating. When the server experiences high CPU utilization, you want to know whether it's caused by overheating or because of other reasons like multiple clients trying to access it or some internal processes which are eating up your CPU resources. So to do this, you have to apply 4 different monitors. For example, in this case, you have to apply the CPU utilization, CPU temperature, network usage, and for monitoring your CPU utilization process, you basically have to associate 3 different monitors: utilization, temperature, network usage. Right now, when the threshold values for each of these metrics cross, you get 3 different alerts. But all these things point to the same issue, which is overheating of your CPU. Right? So you can correlate or consolidate all these alerts and ensure that OpManager Plus triggers only one alert for this, showing that there is an overheating in your server. Okay, so you can correlate multiple monitors which point to one particular issue and raise them as a single alert. For that purpose, we have this alarm correlation feature. Right? So in the product, again, you can find this option under settings and alarm correlation rules. And you can use the add option here. And so let me say server resource crunch. Okay. So when the server resources are used and they're running out of resources, then this alarm or this particular alarm should be raised. So I'm applying this to devices. You can apply this to any particular device. Let me choose the servers here. So you can choose the devices. Now here you can select the criteria. So let me say availability. So let's say when the RAM it crosses greater than equal to, In addition to the RAM, let me choose disk space also when it crosses, say, 400 GB of the disk space. Then this alert should be raised. This particular alert is basically says resources. There's a resource crunch with your server device. So you can basically set the metrics. So instead of raising two different alerts, so let me availability, you can set it as a normal thing. So if it is active, yeah, it's down, and as well as the RAM and disk GB, disk in GB, all these values, cross this particular threshold value, and alert should be raised. So for all these three metrics, instead of three different alerts, one single alert would be raised. So you can basically correlate all the different alarms that point to a same issue and raise them as a single alert. So for that reason, we have the alarm correlation. So here you can set the criteria, run this criteria for every 30 minutes, or you can also say check this criteria for 3 times, or check this alarm correlation rule 3 times consecutively. And when that is done, you can apply this to the profile. You can apply this to 24/7, or you can apply this to a particular specific time window. And we'll discuss about what business hour rule is towards the end of this presentation. So here you can see the summary of what we have done. So you can choose the message here. If you want to associate a workflow, you can do that also, right? And you can finally click on save. So this is about alarm correlation. And now let's talk about another important feature, which is root cause analysis. Now, in any network, there will be massive amounts of data which is being generated every day. So when something like an outage occurs, or downtime, or maybe an application is not functioning well, you have to troubleshoot the issue. But with so much amount of data, it becomes difficult for you to understand what is causing the issue. And for that reason, we have this root cause analysis feature, which helps you to bring multiple metrics, right? Multiple metrics from multiple components of your network into a same window, and you can easily correlate them. You can basically visualize metrics from your application layer, from your network layer, from your server, DB server layer, everything. You can bring all these metrics in the form of graph in a single window, so that you can easily correlate and narrow down the root cause very quickly. Usually during troubleshooting, narrowing down the root cause is the major problem. Once you narrow down the root cause, implementing corrective actions is pretty much easier. So if you can narrow down the root cause very quickly, then you can effectively bring down your MTTR, or troubleshooting time, down significantly. So let's see how this feature works in OpManager Plus. Let's go to alarms. Under alarms, you have something called root cause analysis. So you can click on create RCA profile, and you can select the module. Let me select devices and groups. We'll talk about groups in the subsequent slides. Basically, let's say if you can basically group your devices based on a particular branch office or particular department, or there are different parameters. Let's say you've grouped your devices based on a particular branch office. Now you want to troubleshoot a particular branch office, then you can choose groups and choose that particular branch group, and you can bring in all the data and populate them in the RCA window and troubleshoot the issue. So for now, let me choose devices and apply the filter. Let me bring multiple devices. So the devices will be provided in your left pane. So you can bring in metrics, response time. So you can bring in multiple metrics here in this window, and you can understand what's the correlation. And as you bring in the metrics, you can see the alarms that were raised for this particular metric. So as you expand, you'll get more details. What was the alarm? What was the device? When the alarm was raised? And you can also use the add annotation option to add details, like say whatever your inferences are, you can add them as a message here. So let's say you want to complete this, you want to end this task today, and you want to continue it tomorrow morning. You can use the annotation option and add your messages, add your inferences, and tomorrow morning you'll be able to come and start from where you left. So for that reason, we have this annotation option. And you can also change the metrics to either today or last 24 hours on this particular week. So based on the time period that you give here, the metrics will be populated in this one. So this is about RCA again. This helps you to correlate your data from different components or from different layers of your network. You're able to correlate all the data and get to know the root cause. Moving on. Now we talk about IT workflow automation. Now, performing routine, mundane tasks or simple troubleshooting tasks can take up your valuable time. And this includes actions like running a DNS check or restarting a server. Can be very simple action, or testing a service, whether it's up or down. So there are multiple or many repetitive tasks which you have to do daily. Now that eat away your time. So if you can automate them with the help of workflow automation, then you can use your valuable time and effort. You can focus your effort in other meaningful strategic tasks. And for that reason, we have this workflow automation feature. Now, this is completely code-free, and it's a very simple feature, simple to use. You can easily drag and drop the particular action that you want to execute, and you can create your own workflow. So let's see how this works in the product. You can go to the automation option here, and there are some existing workflows which are given here. This is a pretty simple workflow to check the free space of a device. So let me click new workflow to create a new workflow. Let me show you an example here. So let's say the first action that you want to do is check the availability of the device. So you can use the ping option here. You can set the device to which you want to perform and click on OK. So basically, if the ping test is successful, which means if the device is available, you can go for the subsequent action. If it is not available, then what do you want to do? You can maybe raise an alert. So say you want to generate an alarm. You can set the alarm messages. Let's say device down. So, and if the ping test is successful and if the device is available, then let's say I want to test the service which is running in the server. So if the test the service action is successful, then or say if it is not successful, first we'll do that. If it's not successful, you can generate an alarm. Right? Again, set the message service down. If it is successful, if the service is fine, then you can start the service or say restart the service. So you can basically perform, create your own workflow by just dragging and dropping the particular actions that you want to perform and create this workflow. So you can associate it to the devices which you want to execute this workflow for. You can use the configure trigger. Basically, these are the conditions. So if the condition matches this particular if the workflow matches, or if the device matches this particular condition which is given here, the workflow will be executed. So you can also set the severity for this. You can also apply the so when the device misses an attention severity, this workflow should be triggered. So I'm basically giving that. You can apply the profile also, which means you can apply this workflow to 24/7 all across, all 7 days of a week, or you can apply this to a particular business hour. You can apply it to certain days. For example, if you're not available on Sundays, then you can perform this workflow or this corrective action when you're not there in front of the screen. You can perform it on Sundays. So all this comes under the workflow option. Moving on. Next, we'll talk about forecasting performance trends. Now, OpManager Plus, this is again a machine learning based feature. OpManager Plus uses machine learning capabilities to learn from past historical data, and it extrapolates the data to the future usage. Right? For example, basically CPU utilization, memory, disk, these are all important resources. And based on the utilization trends in the past, it actually lets you know how your usage trends will vary in the future. Right? So in the product, you can find this under inventory. For each device, you can find this. So let me click on a particular server and go to monitors. As you can see, there are multiple monitors which are associated to this device. So let me click on a particular. Yeah. So you have to choose the second option here. The Yeah. So as you choose, you'll be able to see the disk utilization forecast value. So the blue color represents the value until today. Right? The orange color, the yellow color represents the forecast value for the next few days or next few hours of this day. You can also choose for the next week or so, and based on the time period, it will extrapolate the data and present you in the form of a graph. So you can basically understand how your utilization will go about in the next week or the next month, and you can plan to expand your resources based on your utilization. And moving on. Now let's talk about groups. As I said earlier, you can group multiple elements in your network. Say, for example, you can group multiple devices from a particular branch office or a department. And it's very useful to, when you create a group, because you can push configuration changes globally to multiple devices easily. And you can also understand, or say you want to troubleshoot a particular group, you can do that when you have, organized your devices in the form of a group. So in the product, you'll find this under settings. Under configuration, you have something called groups. So there are some default groups here, which were already added. So let me click on add, and you can add a new group. So let's say branch office group. So let's say you're creating this group for a particular branch office. So you can, group your interfaces. You can group your devices. You can also group groups that have been already created. So for this example, I'm choosing devices. So you can basically bring all the devices that are in a particular branch office to the selected members group, and then click on next. And this is the final stage. So this is the health status. So for example, basically you have a core router in this particular group. The core router, when it goes down, all the associated devices will also go down. So you can select that particular core router. Based on that, the health of this entire group will be updated in OpManager Plus. So if you have an important device like that, you can choose that. Or say if you want to choose all the devices, then you can choose them. Right? And you can click on save. Right? Basically, this is a demo version, so I'm not able to say, but you will be able to do it in the OpManager instance. So, moving on, let's talk about notification profiles. Now, in OpManager Plus, you can configure this notification profile, and you can get notified when something goes wrong with your network. So there are multiple options, starting with email, SMS. You can also raise your alerts in the form of a chat. We have you can also raise them as a ticket in other platforms, other ITSM or the desk management platforms. So there are a lot of options here. So let me take you to the product itself and explain further. Under settings, you have notifications, and click on notification profile. So let me click on add to create a new profile. And as you can see that there are multiple options here. So when an alert is generated, you can raise them as an email, SMS, you can raise them in the chat window. You can also raise them as a trap. You can also, use it to perform an action, automate an action using Ansible integration. And we'll talk about integrations in the subsequent slide. So again, there are the multiple features available here. So let me choose email for this example. So just provide it from the to email address. And once this is done, you can choose the the mail format, and here provide the whatever that should be in the mail body, right? The message variables, so on and so forth. So as you click next, you'll be able to set the criteria. Like for example, when the device is down and when say a critical alert is generated, I have to receive an email. So basically, you can set the conditions here. Yeah, you can apply this notification profile to the devices that you want to apply this to. I'm bringing all the devices here, and yes, you have the device by groups. For example, if you have created a group already, you can apply this notification profile to multiple devices using the groups option. That's why creating a group or organizing your devices or interfaces in the form of group is very useful and important. So let me choose the manual method here, and I'm selecting devices. And again, basically the time window. You can apply this profile to 24/7 all across 7 days in a week or to a particular time window. And you will get a delay trigger as well. You can use the recurring trigger option also. So let me use this option. So here you can basically see the summary of the notification profile that you've just now configured. So once all the details are fine, then you can click on save, and anytime an alert is generated and if it matches the condition that is given here, you will get an email alert. So this is about notification profiles. Let's now talk about integrations. OpManager Plus by default supports a multitude of out-of-the-box integrations and custom integrations that are designed to improve your IT workflows. So some integrations like logging tickets, sending a notification in the chat tool, or running a playbook in Ansible, you can perform these actions by triggering them with the help of notification profile, which we just now saw. And this integration feature is especially useful when you want to accelerate any IT incident response. Right? When something goes wrong, you want to bring your MTTR levels down. Then having integrations, having the right tools integrated to OpManager Plus is very, very important for you to troubleshoot or correct or perform corrective actions for your network issues, so that you can bring down values like MTTR. So let's go to the product itself and see further. In the product, you will find this under settings. Under general settings, you have something called integrations. So as you can see, we support a lot of products here, a lot of third-party platforms here. So we have classified them based on the category, right? For example, if you want to integrate them with chat tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams, you can do so. We have help desk tools as well, like the Service Desk Plus, which is our ManageEngine tool. We have other tools also like ServiceNow, Jira, Freshdesk, and say we have this IT automation feature, which is from Ansible. It's basically a automation tool, and this is a brand new integration which we have added in the product recently. So you can now integrate OpManager Plus with your Ansible installation to perform automated response playbooks that are triggered by alarms. So let's choose help desk, and let me just show an example. I'm choosing Service Desk Plus. So here you need to just configure the details, the server IP details, as well as the technician key. So here you can basically automate this. For example, if the alert reoccurs, what do you want to do? You want to create a new ticket or reopen the previous ticket if the ticket occurs within 3 days. And here you have the CMDB settings. Basically, whatever devices you add in OpManager Plus will be directly added to your desk platform also. So that's what this option, sync devices to Service Desk Plus, and sync newly discovered devices in future. So this option is the devices that you've already added will be synced to Service Desk Plus. This is whenever you add any new device into OpManager Plus, as and when you add, that will be updated in your Service Desk Plus instance also. So when you delete a particular device here, you can also, it will also be automatically deleted in OpManager Plus. Sorry, when it is deleted in OpManager Plus, it will be automatically deleted in Service Desk Plus also. You can also sync device relationships. You can use this option, right, and click on save. So basically, you can use this integration option to integrate with multiple platforms and bring down your MPTR values and aid in incident response. For example, you can use the chat window and say if it's a very complex issue and if you want to bring it to the notice of your teammates who will discuss and give you some answers or give you some uh, tips on how to resolve the issue. You can very well use the chat option and integrate it with your Microsoft Teams or your Slack, and you can carry this alert, this message yeah, as a message to your chat window. And apart from the integration features we've discussed now, you can use the new custom integration. And if there is any tool which you don't find here, you can use the custom integration here, and you can configure those details with the help of a webhook, through webhook. So back to the presentation. Next, we'll talk about data collection manager. Now, this data collection manager feature in OpManager Plus is a watchdog that helps improve polling efficiency by reducing unnecessary polling load on your OpManager Plus server. So let us take an interface like Ethernet and assume that you're monitoring it at an interval of 5 minutes. Now, if the monitor responds, it remains in a normally monitored state. That's okay. However, if OpManager Plus fails to get a response for, say, like 5 hours, 6 hours, then it will be moved to a suspended state. Here, the device will be monitored at a delayed polling interval of, say, like once in every 4 hours for the next 10 days or so. If there's still no response, then it will be moved to the disabled state. So basically, this option is used to reduce the load on your OpManager Plus server. So again, you can find this option under, you can use this support icon here, click on this, and under self-support, you have diagnostics. Click on this and use the settings option. So here we can basically, enable this data collection manager. And as I said earlier, the suspend poll, for example, For example, if the device fails to respond or if the metric monitor fails to respond for many days, then you can suspend. Right? For example, if it fails to respond after 6 hours, or you can set it as 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, then there is no use of polling it again and again. So you can suspend polling that device. And OpManager Plus will poll the device every 6 hours. So by default, it used to monitor or it used to ping the device every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. But say if you've done it for 12 hours, still there is no response, then OpManager Plus will use the delayed polling interval and ping the device or the monitor every 6 hours. Still there is no response, then it will move that particular monitor into the disabled state, and OpManager Plus will not continue to monitor that particular device. Right? So if the polling continuously fails for the next 7 days, then you can retry polling, or you can disable also. So you can basically configure these options based on your preferences. Moving on. Then we have maps here, which is again an important feature. Now, while managing any network or monitoring any network, it will be very useful if you have a visual representation of how your network architecture is given. Right? So for that reason, we have this maps feature, which helps you to visualize your entire network architecture and helps you to monitor your network. So we have different maps here. So let me take you to the product itself. We have this maps tab. You can click on this. And let's first talk about layer 2 maps. So we spoke about layer 2 maps in the first session. Under discovery, we have something called layer 2 discovery. So once you've discovered, it will create a map. So for example, you just have to provide the core router details, and all the devices that are associated to the core router will be added, and OpManager Plus will create a map. So this is the core router, and these are the associated devices. You can see the associated interfaces, and as you hover your mouse over a particular device, you can see its monitored state, its availability, so on and so forth. So this is layer 2 maps. They have something called business views. Now, business views, this map will give you insight into how your network is organized based on the business use case they cater. For example, let me take you to this particular production site. Okay. So you can basically populate your production sites or production branch offices or the devices in your production branch offices across this world map and understand where your devices are there and what's the status of the device. You can just hover your mouse over a particular device and you'll be able to see its availability and its monitored status, right? So on and so forth. So you'll get a high level understanding of how your network is performing. If you want to drill down, you can very well go to the device snapshot page and understand how the device is performing. So to create a new map, just click on this create new button. And creating a map or business view map is pretty easy. Yeah. So all you need to do is just choose the devices and that you wish to populate in this particular map and select the background image. So if it is specific to a particular country or a region, you can choose that. Let me select the world map as of now. So you can just drag and drop your important devices or devices in your branch offices based on the locations they are in. And you can get a high level picture of how your network is spread out. This is about the business view maps. And we have something called rack views also. So rack views, what it does is in your data centers, you'll have server farms and you'll have racks. And in each rack, you'll have a device. And you can get visibility into every rack of the server using the rack views. So let me click on a particular rack. Yeah. So this is how you can understand, you can view, the devices in a particular rack. So for example, you can use this option to monitor your racks, to monitor your servers. And if there is a particular issue with any device in a particular rack, then you can, straight away call the person who's on site, and you can specifically mention that this is the particular rack, this is the particular device which is causing an issue, and the person will be able to quickly get to that particular device and fix the issue. So for that reason, we have this rack views. So we also have 3D floor views, which gives you a, this is 2D view. It gives you the front and the rear view. If you want to have a 3D look, you can use the 3D option, and you'll be able to get a 3D view of your racks as well. So this is all about maps, again, which helps you to visualize your entire network architecture. Let's move on to another important feature called dashboards. Now, dashboards in OpManager Plus allows you to get a bird's eye view of what's happening in your IT environment. We have multiple built-in dashboards and 150 plus widgets with the option to create custom dashboards. Now, this includes widgets like show the availability of a device, downtime of devices, or specific to particular metrics like disk utilization, so on and so forth. Right. So let me show you this in the product itself. You can navigate to dashboards, and yes, this gives you a complete view of what's happening in your network. You don't so that you don't have to switch between multiple tabs or multiple tools to understand what's happening in your network. With an at-a-glance view from this unified console, you'll be able to understand how your network is performing. So these are the widgets, and you can change the position of your widgets based on the. So, for example, if you want a particular widget to be at the top because that's very important for you, then you can do that as well. And this is how dashboards look like. And definitely in your IT network, you'll have multiple teams. You'll have your database team, server team, storage team, virtual team to manage your virtual servers. So we have different dashboards for that purpose. For example, let's click on servers, and you'll get a server dashboard, which covers metrics that are associated only to your servers. And you have storage dashboards, which provides metrics that cover your storage devices. And another feature is that you have your knock views. Let me click on the sample knock view. So knock view is basically a CCTV view of your entire network. You can consolidate multiple dashboards within a knock view, and you can also set the interval. So for example, let's say you have 3 different dashboards: storage, server, and the primary dashboard. So you can add that to a particular knock view, and every 60 seconds. So this is the interval. This interval has already been configured. So you can configure that when you're creating a knock view, which I'll show you in a minute. So every 60 seconds, or based on the interval that you set here, the dashboard will get updated. As I said earlier, if you have three dashboards, server, storage, and the overview or the regular dashboard, every 60 seconds, alternatively, each dashboard will appear in your window so you can get a complete view of what's happening in your network. Especially, this is very, very useful for your NOC team or your central team. So while creating a NOC view, you can select the dashboards that you want to have. And here you just have to provide the refresh interval, whether it's 30 seconds, 1 minute. So whatever you provide here, based on the interval, your dashboards will get alternatively, it will be appearing in OpManager Plus. Yeah. So next we'll talk about reports. Now, in today's fast-paced environment, decision-making needs to happen in an instant. So for you to accomplish that, you need process data in the form of actionable reports. So OpManager Plus stores monitoring data of your network, and you can access them in the form of reports. We already have 100 plus built-in reports in OpManager Plus by default, which are categorized into different categories for you to easily access them. So you can find this under the report section. So here you can find all your reports here, the health and performance, availability reports, load balancer reports, storage reports, so on and so forth. So let me click on a particular report. And it's taking some time here. Let me show you a different window or a different setup. Yeah, so you can see this is all interfaces availability report. So it gives you the data, the interface availability for all your interfaces that are added to your network. So you can perform other actions like you can, filter this report based on the category of your devices. You can also filter them based on the time period, and you can also export them as a PDF. Under more actions, you will have the schedule option. So using this, you can say you want to send this report to your upper management every week or every month. You can use the schedule option to schedule this. So every 7 days or like every, you can schedule this for daily, weekly, or monthly. So if it is weekly, when do you want to, send this report? Say on every morning or every Tuesday, 9 a.m. So you can do that. And you can also enter the mail subject, mail message, and this report along with the message will reach the particular person's inbox. Moving on, we also have other important functionalities in reports. We have something called advanced reports. Now, apart from the default reports in OpManager Plus, this solution of ours helps you to create reports covering multiple categories. There are business needs that may require you to create custom reports with different data points. So for that case, we have this advanced reports feature. So in the product, you will find this under reports. Yeah, advanced report. So you can just click on create new report. You can provide the details. And here you can include multiple metrics, as I said earlier. You can include, say, the custom fields like building, cabinet comments. You can also include performance metrics like the regular SNMP metrics. So you can, club 2-3 metrics together and bring it in the form of a report. You can also sort the report by a particular metric, right? And apply this criteria. Say you want to apply this criteria to device type. So okay, you can also filter this for a particular time window or based on a particular business hour. Right? So if you click on preview, you'll be able to see the preview of the report. Right? Back to the presentation. Next topic we have is forecast reports. Now, forecast reports allow you to predict the resource utilization of your infrastructure. Now, all it needs is 3 to 14 days of your device usage patterns. And once that is there, it will be able to generate its report. Now, you can predict the time it might take for your infrastructure to deplete your existing resources. So once you have that picture, you'll be able to expand your resources and make informed decision in expanding your resources. So again, this is found under the reports. We have forecast reports here, and here you'll be able to see the CPU forecast, memory forecast, disk utilization forecast as well. So we saw this in the we saw this in the device level, right? Where we saw for a particular server device, the disk utilization based on the past historical data, it extrapolates and gives you in the form of graph. Now this is a report, so it is given in the form of a table. Right? So you can see the device, its protocol, and what's the current usage state, and when it will reach 80% and 90%. So based on this, you can add your resources to your servers, reallocate your resources, and make informed decisions. Now, back to the presentation. Now, yes, so we spoke about business hour rules earlier. So what is business hour rules? Basically, in every organization, you might have different business hours. So you can configure them in OpManager Plus, and you can use that when you're scheduling a report, or you want to schedule a notification profile. You can apply that notification profile to this particular business hour that you configure in OpManager Plus. So how do you configure it? You can go to settings, under report settings, under reports. Yeah. You have reports, report settings. You can click on add rule here. This is business hour rule. You can click on add rule, and here you'll be able to create the business hour rule. So you can basically set the time window. For example, Monday it is 10 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. So similarly, you can set for the other days as well. So you can pull this business hour rule whenever you create your notification profile or you generate reports. You can apply this. You can apply this configuration, or you can pull this configuration when you do other actions. Once again, a big thank you for attending this session. I sincerely hope to see you in the next part also, which will take place on the 22nd of July. And in that session, we will discuss in detail about other IT operation management functionalities like firewall management, configuration management, IP address and switchboard management, and traffic and bandwidth analysis as well. So don't miss out to join that session. Thank you.